George Zimmerman, the man who shot and killed 17-year-old Trayvon Martin, is waking up inside a jail cell this morning after he surrendered to police on Sunday, after a few days after a Florida judge revoked his bond. Listen.
He is in custody now. He's going to remain there until we get back before Judge Lester. If and when he grants us a bond hearing, it sounds like he might consider it, but that is going to be based upon the motion itself, and whether or not Judge Lester wants to revisit his bond status.
Mark Amara, he's George Zimmerman's attorney. At the initial hearing, you'll remember back in April, Zimmerman and his wife told the court that they had limited funds to pay for bond, but a website set up to take defense donations had actually collected more than $130,000. Now, prosecutors say the Zimmermans were well aware of the money at the time, and they may have even secretly tried to shift between the accounts before the hearing. Joining us this morning, Benjamin Crump. He's an attorney for the Trayvon Martin family. Nice to see you, sir. Thanks for talking with us. How's the family doing today, and what's the reaction to this latest news?
Well, they are relieved that the killer of their unarmed teenage son is back in jail. They have always wanted him to stay in custody until the trial, Soledad.
So it looks like the defense will probably ask for another bond hearing, try to get him out again on bond. What's your plan for that and the prosecution's plan for that? Will they ask for no bond or a high bond?
Well, if Attorney O'Mara files the motion, then the stage is set for George Zimmerman and his wife to have to take the witness stand and attempt to explain what the state attorney said was blatant lies to the court, thus exposing them further to credibility issues, or George Zimmerman can stay in jail until the trial and not risk damaging his credibility any further.
A lot of this stems...
The real question is this. The real question is this, Soledad. If you lie to the court, are there consequences?
Well, let's go and review for everybody exactly how this new evidence came about. On April 12th, I guess they record conversations that you have in jail. So they were recording a conversation between Zimmerman and his wife, Shelley, and I'll read off the transcript. George Zimmerman says, "In my count, do I have at least 100? Shelley says, "No." George says, "How close am I?" Shelley says, 860. George says, "Really? So total everything, how much are we looking at?" Shelley says, "Like 155. That's a transcript of a call from I believe I think it's April 16th, forgive me, April 16th. 4 days later, though, at the hearing, Shelley, who was just involved in that prior conversation, I just read the transcript, said this, listen.
Mention also in terms of the ability of your husband to make a bond amount that you all have no money, is that correct?
To my knowledge, that's correct.
Okay. Were you aware of the website that Mr. Zimmerman or somebody on his behalf created?
I'm aware of that website.
And how much money is in that website right now? How much money as a result of that website was...
Currently, I do not know.
So she says she doesn't know how much money is in the website. She also has just talked about 155 and 100. They're talking thousands of dollars, right? So 155 is $155,000. Is that right?
That's certainly what the state attorney believed when they reviewed the police recordings, and the record is there. It's very clear what the records say. So the judge reviewed it, and based on the law, revoked George Zimmerman's bond.
Second point, I guess, is another recording that focuses on a passport. George Zimmerman had a passport and lost it, and then apparently reapplied. Turned over one passport eventually to the court. I guess now has turned over the second one. Here's a little bit of the transcript of the conversation he and his wife were having, though, about the passport before he turned it over to the court. George Zimmerman says, "Do you know what? I think my passport is in that bag." Shelley Zimmerman says, "I have one for you in the safety deposit box." George says, "Okay, you hold on to that." Shelley says, "For you." That's a call from April 17th, again, a couple of days before the hearing. Why is that passport conversation relevant?
It is very relevant because a passport indicates that you are able to leave the country, and it's always a question about flight risk when you're dealing with bonds. It's credibility and flight risk. And the reason Judge Lester's ruling was so important because it focuses everybody's attention to George Zimmerman's credibility. And remember, his credibility is the main thing here because it is only his version of the facts that say Trayvon Martin attacked him. All the objective evidence suggests that he pursued and shot Trayvon Martin in the heart. And that is going to be a crucial issue. Credibility.
There are legal experts who would say he's 28 years old, he's afraid, he's trying to figure out how to stay out of jail, that it's less of a credibility issue than just an out-and-out fear issue for a relatively young man.
Well, certainly the judge is balancing everything, but a lie is a lie, and that's what the court has to determine. And if Trayvon Martin would have lied to the court, we believe he would not be given a bond. He would have to sit in jail until his trial. And all his parents have asked for, his family has only asked for, Soledad, is equal justice. Whatever that you would give consideration for Trayvon Martin, you got to give it to George Zimmerman, and Trayvon would have stayed in jail, we believe, had he lied to the court.
Benjamin Crump is an attorney for Trayvon Martin's family. Thanks for talking with us. Certainly appreciate it.